Hello everyone, and welcome to another Star Trek Online video. So today it's about the Garrett Alliance Dreadnought, the reward for the anniversary event this year. And isn't she a beauty? Now this is with the Section 31 Vanity Shield, which gives you this nice dark look. Also I like how those sections here are still illuminated. So there's a bit of red in there is obviously some blue, and I think the ship is gorgeous. I wasn't sure about its looks at first, right? But seeing it in game, I really like it. This is the normal look. No, it doesn't look bad normally either. I'll have to say. I mean, obviously looks are very subjective, but you know, I think it looks quite nice. And then with the Vanity Shield, it looks even better. But, looks aside, I'm here to talk about this ship. Now, this isn't a specific budget build or so for this. Some of the stuff I have on this ship is actually quite expensive. But I've done some budget builds in the past if you're interested, and you could easily make one of the builds that I've done for other ships and use it on this. Like, essentially, this is a 5 free weapons layout, which gives you a lot of options. You could do just like cannons in the front and turrets in the back, or you could do dual beam banks in the front and then the omni beams in the back. This here is a beam build because it's a little bit more tank oriented. I've never really built a true tank, but this is a relatively tanky ship. So I'll just quickly go over what I've put in here. So I have dual beam banks in the front, anti-proton. 2 of them are Baul and 2 are normal ones, and mostly because I had them lying around and didn't need them. So I didn't want to level all new weapons for this. And I think it looks nice, right? We have the Dark Matter Quantum Torpedo from the Discovery reputation together with... No, wait, I don't have the console yet, right? I think this character doesn't have Discovery reputation high enough to have the console, so... Yeah, this character is actually still leveling reputation, so I'll eventually equip the console as well for the set. I'm using 2 pieces of the kit to my alliance because anti-proton, right? And I like the anti-proton retort. If you are throwing threat and if the enemies are shooting you, right, might as well have a shield that shoots back. And obviously this deflector is very good for anti-proton. This is from an event that ran last year. And it gives anti-proton damage and additional crit chance. So pretty neat. And then I have 2-piece Discovery for, you know, the Discovery passive. Now I'm using the omnidirectional Pavan Proton Beam, also from an event from last year. And the Herald Anti-Proton, which is from an older event, I think. But you could just use regular beam arrays here as well. Like, I mean, regular Omni Beams, right? The set one, the Anti-Proton set one is from one of the... Dyson missions, and it's called the Ancient whatever beam array, and then you could take a crafted one, right? And the cutting beam is the third. So if you wanted to run an anti-proton set and you don't have any of this event stuff, just use a crafted anti-proton omni and then use the one from the quest, and then cutting beam is a third. So moving on, I've got like 4 isomechs on there because I have a lot of universal consoles. There is the Wovin from also last year's event that lets you jump around and reduce cooldown. Then there is the console of the ship itself. It gives your pets 20% fire cycle haste. And I know it says for 20 seconds. I'm not sure if it just reapplies it every 20 seconds or if this has something to do with how they had to implement it. But it's just a passive, right? You can ignore the time there. This is a passive, they always have that. And then the active ability is a buff to you and allies within 5 kilometers, a buff that increases if there are more allies that are hit with it. Currently, this the cooldown seems buggy because you can't reduce it. I mean, it has the 2-min cooldown that it says, but if you're using like your Wovin console or like unconventional systems, it doesn't seem to work with the cooldown reduction that is hopefully getting patched at some point. But otherwise, a pretty useful console to buff you and your allies. It also makes your pets attack your current target, which, yeah, I'm not sure that's making a big difference, so... but it's also there. I'm using the custom power matrix from the winter event, and I have it in an engineering slot because I like the aux power that gives in combination with the fleet power network array, a console that you've probably seen many times. It's a very popular one. I have the DPRM, a very expensive and powerful defensive console. I've got that from like a mods bundle. I'm using the absorptive frequency generator. That's actually from a dilithium ship, like the what is it, the tier 3 Mogai or so. So you can get that for dilithium essentially. The particle conversion matrix, that one is from the Guardian, a Sensor ship, and it's pretty neat if you are like drawing threat and getting shot at, because incoming damage gives you stacks that give you energy and exotic damage. And it also gives you 75% shield resistance, which is pretty nice if you're trying to stay alive. And it's one of those consoles that immediately go on cooldown when you press it, meaning you can already work on the cooldown reduction, right? There are some consoles, like for example the DPRM, which has an active, like while it's active, it has sort of a countdown ticking down, and it only goes on cooldown once the effect is over. So you can't have permanent uptime in a sense, because once the effect is over, it goes on cooldown. This console, just like the fleet power network array, you press them, they're immediately on cooldown, and while they are active, you can already work on the cooldown reduction. Then I have the simulated module, mostly because I like the two-piece with the cutting beam. And I have image refractors, which is a relatively cheap console. That's mostly there because it gives you 10 hit points. Now, I might replace that. I'm not sure what I'm gonna replace once I'm getting the console from the Discovery reputation, but we'll see. And I mean, I might change this around a little bit. As I said, this isn't mostly about my build, this is more about just demonstration of the ship and what you could potentially do, right? I think most people will probably just throw like dual heavies or dual beam banks or so in there and go more damage oriented, and not care about generating threats in any form. But you do what's fun to you. So next up, well, personal space traits. I have History Will Remember because it gives me more threat generation, so it helps with that. I have Superior Air Denial and Repurposed Cargo Bay because, I mean, I like pets, what can I say? You can already see, like, not, like, actually this is the only tanking trait that I have. So it's not like a true tank in that sense, I guess. I do have some personal space traits that help with tanking, like I have Repair Cruise and I have Ablative Shell, and I do have the Harmonic Shield Linkage, which is a pretty good shield regeneration skill and pretty cheap too, right? And I do have the Ruin of My Enemies, a very expensive trait. I have Emergency Weapon Cycle, pretty common trait I suppose, and Ship of the Line here. And for my stations, well, I have Suppression Barrage and Fire at Will, which are a good combination to spread Suppression Barrage around. I also have Beta that I can spread around with my Fire at Will. I do not have any Fire at Will extension trait on this. There isn't really a great one. There is, I think, Redirecting Arrays, which improves the duration to like 15 seconds. That means you still have a 5-second gap where you don't have Fire at Will. There is Entwined Tactical Matrices, which you could, like, with Torpedo Spread and Fire at Will, switch between those two to permanently have a Fire at Will, but it's a little bit clunky to use, and I don't know, it's fine that way, honestly. I mean, extension trait would probably be nice, but yeah, I guess I don't care that much. The Avani console actually gives you some beam overloads, so, you know, while I'm not firing at willing, I might be beam overloading, so there is that. Now, I use emergency power to weapons and emergency power to engines. I have a reverse shield polarity for added survivor. I have some unconventional system triggers with gravity well, chronometric field inversion, tractor beam, and scramble sensors. And I do have a tactical team, which is a great abilities if you have anything with with shield healing to help keep you alive. Like you gotta remember, if you use something like the Absorptive Frequency Generator, it restores shields on all of your facings, right? But if you don't distribute the shield energy from all of your facings into where they are needed, then a lot of your heal is essentially wasted. I mean, that goes for any heal, right? If one of your shield facings is down and the others are full, then, you don't really get the regenerations from the full shield facings. So, tactical team is an amazing skill that I can highly recommend to everyone, I guess, is what I'm saying. So yeah, this was just a very brief overview over the build that I'm using and the ship. And let's jump into a queue and, a patrol, and let's see what we can do. So this ship is supposed to be tanky, which means I'm going to go into the ninth rule on Elite that has quite a few enemies. So we will see how it performs. I guess I could have chosen, there is a Borg version of this, sort of. In this case, we get random enemies. If you're very unlucky, we get somebody who sub-nukes you, but we will see what we get this time around. So I'm gonna activate Attract Fire. I'm gonna activate Threatening Sense. I mean, there are only my pets that could take away aggro from me, I guess. But still. And now we start with buffing. I mean, I might have been a little bit too early with my buffs here. So, okay, let's get those going. Then we jump in there and off we go. And now use our new console here, and as you can see, the console here is like to me, and you will see I will jump pretty soon, and then you will see the cooldown won't go down of the new console, right? It is sadly not affected, but I can use my other consoles now, which is nice. And we just keep killing those ships.
Well, there's good news and
Okay, now we go over there to Martron, and we will get some more enemies to fight. Sure. And I mean, as you can see so far, like, this is Elite, and they haven't really provided much resistance so far. Of course, the last battle will be a real endurance test here, which happens once we tractor him over there. So. Sure, you throw in the legendary toxin. It's a shame that the new console is not yet affected by cooldown reduction. More uptime would be fun, but as you can see, doing pretty well here. Jumping around a little bit for more cooldowns. Shields are holding strong. I mean, with the amount of like shield defenses here, and I still have my reverse shield polarity as an emergency measure in case it's ever needed. But so far, can't just lovely sit here. Take care of them. And I haven't even pressed the DPRM yet, right? You know, you can actually do really well with shields these days. You could do even better if you like installed consoles that help with more shield capacity. Because the Guardian console, keep in mind, the Guardian console is a standstill console, and that gives you like huge amounts of shield resistance. So if you have the Guardian console and then you have the console from the Valdor, and probably the Starship trait with like the not Starship trait, the personnel trait with the shield regeneration, right? Your shields are really in a good position. Of course, Borg have the shield neutralizer. You can hear that with hazard emitters, but you are probably hurting a little bit more against Borg. Let's be honest. But aside from that, shields are most definitely useful, especially with a particle conversion matrix. And you need a lot of cooldown reduction, obviously, to get the most out of it. But as you can see, I have 4 unconventional system triggers and the Wovin console, and that's enough, right? Any more unconventional system triggers wouldn't really help me. I can essentially get like the fleet power network and the conversion matrix going almost all of the time. I mean, mostly it's just me screwing up if something's on cooldown, so... And once we have the cooldown reduction applied to the coordinated engagement solutions, that will make it even better. And my DPRM is just here if it gets really bad. If you're like, I mean, this is just a patrol, right? This wasn't like elite TFO. Yeah. Pretty good ship. I'm loving it. Looks good, performs well, and I hope you guys are enjoying yours as well. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.